what's up everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name is Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary, and I'm here with my beautiful wife. Say hi, boo.
Hi everyone, I'm Akdi and I'm from Turkey. And today we are reviewing, I guess, like a 2000s comedy classic. This is the end.
Yeah, 2010s comedy classic. I don't know if it's a classic because I feel like a lot of people don't talk about this film. I feel like it appeared and then went, but I remember watching it in theaters and dying laughing, and I hadn't seen it since. And I just thought about it recently in the past few weeks, and I was like, was it really as good as I remember? And we watched it again last night after watching May December, and I was like, it's not as good as I remember, but it still holds up. I was entertained and I laughed at a few points. What about you?
Yeah, I think I watched this like with a friend group or something. You know, when it was like the end of the night and everyone was kind of tired. So we pulled up something funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't remember it that much, honestly. I just remembered it was like a funny, chill movie. And it was still kind of like that. Like there are some scenes that makes you laugh out loud, and then there are some scenes that makes you smile, but I think it holds up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, this is a apocalyptic, supernatural horror comedy film. I didn't know all those genres could go together, but this was like Seth Rogen's first film that he directed, and also another guy named Evan Goldberg, who's a director, filmmaker from Canada. And Seth Rogen is from Canada, by the way, which I just sort of remembered last night while watching the film. But yeah, the film stars James Franco, Jonah Hill, Jay Baruchel, Danny McBride, Craig Robinson, Michael Cera, Emma Watson, Rihanna, Kevin Hart. Who else is in this thing? Aziz Ansari. A lot of
Apparently, Paul Rudd. Sorry.
Yeah,
I accidentally said RuPaul.
RuPaul might have been in the background. I don't know. Channing Tatum is in here. The Backstreet Boys pop up.
Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, Mindy Kaling. Like this film is it's like the peak of the 2010s, right?
Yeah,
Like,
all of these people were like peaking at that time.
yeah. So it's good to see all of them in a film and like watching it, looking back, 10 years removed from this, it feels like you're looking at like your high school yearbook and you're like, oh, look at that. Rihanna before, ASAP. And like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of like this crew.
Yeah.
Like, not gonna lie, not that they made amazing movies, but I feel like they were like the chill, funny guys of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then they started sort of making more serious movies. And Jonah Hill lost weight,
Yeah.
And, but I don't know.
I feel like James Franco disappeared, right?
Yeah. I haven't seen him.
Michael Cera disappeared, Danny McBride, Craig Robinson. Like, I haven't really seen them lately. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same. I mean, last time I saw Channing Tatum was in like this weird movie with Scarlett Johansson about how America went to the moon.
Oh yeah, I heard that was a big film on Netflix. You watched it without me?
No, I didn't watch it. I just saw it, the poster.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, and Channing Tatum only has like a light role in it, but the thing is, like watching this film, it feels more distant in time than it actually is. Because we've watched some films from like 2003, 1995, 1975, right? And some of those do feel old, but this one feels a bit a bit further back, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
No, it makes sense because it feels like 2005, but it's actually 2013.
Yeah, it feels like a 2005 film, but it's a 2013 film, which is not that long ago. Like at that time, Kendrick Lamar had already dropped like Good Kid, Mad City or something like that. Like that, I think about my life and like rap albums and like what album was out at the time. So this is like
Rihanna was still like releasing music.
Yeah, like it's so crazy to think like this is the time, those same timelines correlates.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, basically this film is about all these celebrities playing themselves. They don't have fake names. It's like really Seth Rogen and Jay Baruchel are like hanging out, and they go to James Franco's house party where like Michael Cera is like doing coke and getting his ass eat, and Craig Robinson is like playing beer pong, and Danny McBride is like hiding somewhere. And basically, when Seth Rogen and Jay Baruchel go out to get some cigarettes, the rapture happens, the apocalypse happens. People get beamed up into heaven, and then they have to bunker down in James Franco's house while like demons are running around outside, and the literal gates of hell open, and then hilarity ensues. And yeah, I think it's a good premise for a movie, for a comedy movie. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the idea of actors playing themselves because you get to make fun of yourself as a celebrity, or at least like the character that you put outside as a celebrity. You make fun of that. That was like fun to see. And you wonder like, okay, I know this is not like how they act in real life, but I wish they did.
Yeah. It's sort of like kind of a joy for the audience, because like the audience's relationship with celebrities is a lot of time love-hate. Like we love certain celebrities and hate others, right? You might love Seth Rogen but hate Craig Robinson, or vice versa. So you probably are watching this like, damn, I really wish Jonah Hill gets like raped by a demon. Oh shit, it happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know. It also feels like, the insight into celebrity world, even though it's fake.
Yeah.
Because I guess like that's what people want to know.
Yeah.
Of like how these people actually hang out in their normal time.
Yeah. I think it just would have been better if like This Is the End took place at like a Diddy party, and like they were in the middle of a freak off, and then like the rapture happens, and
Oh
like
my God. They have to do that movie.
that would be great. That would be great. Like imagine being like trapped in a house with nothing but baby oil and like, mad drugs that Diddy has left over.
Wow, they're gonna be drinking baby oil as water. They have to. And yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah. But one of my favorite scenes, not going to go through this film scene by scene, but I really liked at the beginning when like Jay is picked up at the airport by Seth, and he's like trying to convince him, hey, let's go get some Carl's Jr. And Seth is like, no, I'm on a diet. And then like 5 minutes later, they're like smashing on like nothing but Carl's Jr. And then they like make it to Seth Rogen's house, and he's got a bunch of drugs on the table, like mad weed, bongs, all sorts of edibles, stuff like that. And they get super high. That was a really fun scene. Any comments on like the beginning?
Yeah, it was very like funny. I thought, okay, in general, I think the first half of the movie is very funny. And yeah, I don't know. It's just funny. I don't know what to say, but it's just like, these celebrities saying the most like funniest or just like rudest things to each other. And then you're just like, well, actually that's true. But yeah, it's funny when you hear them say it.
Yeah.
And that whole like gluten scene where like Seth Rogen is saying, oh, I'm on a gluten diet and all of that. That was, I think, from Kim Kardashian.
Really? What do you mean? Kim said something like that?
Yeah. And then, what was the Scott Disick?
What?
And he said like, you don't even know what gluten is. It was one of the Kardashians. I don't know who.
Okay. And then Kim said, gluten is anything that's bad.
I don't think she said that.
Okay.
But she just didn't answer.
I see. Yeah, the first half of the movie is funny, but what I like about this film is like the second half actually gets kind of dark, because there's a point in the film when you think like, they're all just going to die and go to hell. But how the movie actually ends, it's actually kind of a moral story. And I think a part of what made this film stick out in my mind is like, at the end when a lot of the characters are about to, face their death, right? They have the choice to be like, okay, I can do something with my life to redeem myself and be with God, or I can continue to be the asshole that I was, and, suffer, right? And, it's kind of like really touching to some degree for me. Like I feel like this film has some moral value. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's like, the theme and the ending, it does have a philosophy to it. And as someone like who doesn't believe in God, and maybe, I don't know, these people are the same. Maybe Seth Rogen doesn't believe in God. And that was very relatable for me. Like, if this happened to me, I would think, okay, like, I guess I'll go to heaven because I'm generally good.
Yeah.
But then you don't. And then you're stuck and you don't know what to do because you never did any of this before. And, yeah, there was like that scene where, they finally realized it's the apocalypse. And Seth Rogen was, Jesus fucking Christ. And they said, I don't think you should say that anymore, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think I would do the same things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just trying to survive and run away from what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I also feel like this movie really could only be made in America because I don't feel like other Christian nations or Christians in general think about the apocalypse as much as we do. Like, in the book of Revelations, which is the last part of the Bible, it goes into esoteric detail about what those days will be like, right? And we have whole denominations of Christianity in America built around the end times, right? Like the Seventh-day Adventists and the Mormons and stuff like that. They create whole new eschatologies and theologies just on, predicting when the end times will come, right? So I feel like no other country would really broach this topic this way, and especially deal with it in a comedic sense too.
Yeah. I mean, definitely not in Turkey. I know that. And also, like, probably in other Christian countries, like, they wouldn't do it either. But also, like, in America, which is, like, in this movie as well, they have this cult of Hollywood, A lot of people sort of look at celebrities. They, know what they're doing all the time, or they're obsessed with them. Like you said, it's a love and hate relationship, and I feel like no other nation really has that.
Yeah.
Where, the stars in Hollywood known around the world.
That's a very good point. It's almost deep in a way, like, cause, we know everything about Rihanna and Kevin Hart and who they're dating, who they're sleeping with, who cheated on who, right? And they all appear in this film. Like the scene when they all show up at James Franco's house. It's sort of like a who's who. Like, who were you shocked to see at the house?
Yeah. I was kind of shocked to see Emma Watson. Cause I'm like, what is Hermione doing here?
Yeah.
But yeah, then in real life, you never know, like, who might vibe with who. And just because I guess we sort of like think about the roles they play.
Yeah.
And then make assumptions about them. But like, Emma Watson sort of had like a bigger role than Rihanna or, other minor characters.
Yeah, that's because I think Emma Watson is probably a much better actress than Rihanna, so she's gonna deserve it more. And she did a great job in it. But going back to the point, like, we know everything about like celebrities, right? And we don't know anything about like the book, the Bible or the Quran or what anything, right? So the movie is sort of like saying, like, while we focus on the stars in front of us, we should be focusing on maybe bigger things too. I think there is like a religious theme in this film. This might be one of the greatest Christian movies of all time.
Oh my God. There was a raping demon in this movie. So I don't know about that thought.
I think that's very likely. Like, if you, don't follow the rules of the book, you might get raped by a demon. I mean, they say anything goes in hell.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be justice if somebody was like a rapist in real life and they get raped by like a 24-inch demon cock for the rest of their eternal soul? Like,
I
wouldn't that be
guess,
justice?
but that's not something you would say in a holy book. Which then again shows like holy books are written by just normal people.
Okay. Well, newsflash, it's not in the Bible that a 24-inch demon cock will penetrate you. But
exactly. But I think if it was really sent by God, it would be there.
Okay.
Because then why does God have to care about like demon dick being inappropriate?
Anyway, so they make it to the party, and one of the funniest scenes is like Michael Cera is like coked out of his mind, like he's just like the most he's the biggest degenerate here, and Mindy Kaling is like horny for him. And James Franco is like pitching a horrible movie idea to Seth Rogen and stuff like that. And there seems to be like this beef between Jonah Hill and Jay Baruchel and stuff like that. And lots of cameos and stuff like that. There's this really funny scene when like Craig Robinson is like singing this song, "Take Your Panties Off." Take your panties off. It reminded me of the black guy in Casablanca, right?
Wow.
And Rihanna gets to sing a little bit too. And yeah, it looked like a really cool party. Would you actually want to be in this party?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, I don't know if I can stand all the weird celebrity shit.
Yeah, yeah, all the drugs
But
everywhere. And somebody's probably going to make you drink Molly water, like on purpose.
yeah, I mean,
That's
one of
what you
my
said.
favorite scenes there was when Cera slapped Rihanna's butt, and then Rihanna slapped him right back.
Right.
And that was definitely a dope scene, and I feel like that would happen in real life. I don't know
Absolutely.
why.
No, absolutely. Probably more than slap him, like punch the shit out of him. If Rihanna slapped Michael Cera, I'm pretty sure he would like fly 20 feet backwards like a cartoon character. Because he is like the tiniest, frailest man of all time.
Yeah, I don't get why he was so like popular at this party.
I don't know, man. Number one, like Michael Cera probably is like a really sweet guy, but on screen, he's had the reputation of playing like the nerdiest characters of all time. So
Yeah.
in this film, like, it's sort of like tongue in cheek, ironic, like, hey, let's make Michael Cera like the most degenerate asshole you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I guess. And I have to say, like, I loved Jonah Hill's character because he's like this, oh, like, let's be friendly. And, he's like on some yoga shit or something,
Yeah.
like that celebrity, peace vibe.
Yeah, that
And he was
fake
just funny.
Hollywood. Yeah, that fake Hollywood friendliness, right?
Yeah, yeah. But he
And
was delivering it. Like, I really hated him in the movie.
for a second, I thought, oh, maybe he really does like Jay. He's like, hey guys, let's not gang up and bully Jay. Be nice.
Yeah, and then later, like, when they're at the apocalypse and he's praying and he says, like, hi God, I am Jonah Hill from Moneyball. I really hate Jay. I really fucking hate him and I wish he died.
Please, and then he prays to God, please kill him. And so then
Yeah.
God, sends the demon to rape him, which is, it's pretty well deserved. I think it's well deserved. You shouldn't pray for people to die, right?
Yeah.
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 But, so yeah, basically like Jay doesn't want to be at this party. He doesn't like he doesn't like, Jonah Hill. He doesn't really like James Franco. He goes out to get some cigarettes and Seth Rogen comes with him and he's like saying, man, I want to go home. And then that's when the blue lights come down and like suck people up. Now, I don't know, like, how familiar you are with like what they say will happen in the apocalypse, but do you know like that's a part of the, predictions of the end times? Did you know that?
No, I thought it was an alien invasion. Because yeah, like what the hell is the blue light? I didn't remember the movie exactly. I just remembered it was like an apocalypse, but when the blue light came in, I thought, oh, the aliens are here.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it would be. I thought an alien invasion movie would be a good idea too. But you know what? I actually like the idea about the apocalypse better because we don't see those sort of end time events because you can't, nuclear bomb the devil, right? Like in the alien invasion movie, they always just send a bunch of warplanes and like Will Smith to like blow it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I like this idea better too. It's just what I thought when I saw the blue light.
Yeah. Yeah. But, the blue lights come and like suck people into the sky. Jay runs back to the house with Seth Rogen and they all find the people are still partying there. They don't know what the hell is going on. But then there's like a major like earthquake and something like that. And the people run outside. Michael Cera is like, who stole my phone in front of the people? And he's like telling people like empty their pockets while the whole city is burning, which is kind of funny too because like it's so mismatched with the, what the bigger issue is. He gets impaled by like a street lamp and sucked into the earth and the whole ground opens up and then all of our favorite celebrities die. Like Kevin Hart gets sucked in. Rihanna just stands there screaming, ah! She has like the most like uncinematic death. Like,
Yeah. That was just like such a unnecessary death. Like, girl, why aren't you running?
yeah, like she just stood there, screamed, ah, and like fell in the hole. Like that was really bad. They could have did that better. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of funny when like Aziz Ansari was like, Kevin Hart, help me, or something like that. Or Craig Robinson, help me. And, Craig Robinson said, fuck you, Aziz. I gotta save myself.
Yeah, it's like sort of every man for himself type
Yeah.
of situation was happening. It was
Right.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, so they make it back inside. Only like 5 of them survive. Craig Robinson, James Franco, et cetera, et cetera. Like the 5 main guys or something like that. They count up what they have, and they have like, just like the worst shit to survive with. They have like 12 bottles of water, endless alcohol, Nutella, pizza, like some bacon,
A
cinnamon toast
Milky
crunch,
Way.
a Milky Way, right? And a bunch of drugs, and a porno magazine, and a baseball bat and a gun. It's stuff like that, right? Like what you would expect in like a bachelor pad, like a bro's house. Like,
Yeah.
if the apocalypse happens, the number one place you want to be is in grandma's house. Cause she got food for like at least 5 years.
Definitely, definitely. But that scene was hilarious where they showed like all the stuff they had
Uh-huh.
in front of the camera. That was just hilarious. And yeah, that's what you would expect like from Seth Rogen's house.
Yeah. Yo, but Jonah Hill stole the show when he like picked up the gun, you know what I mean? And was
Yeah.
pointing at people, bang, bang, bang. And people were like, yo, chill. He's like, I'm sorry. I guess I'll kill myself. No, that was great. That was actually great. And that's when I was like, okay, this movie actually still holds up, right? And there's a reason these guys were like the funniest guys for their time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. A lot of people, I was trying to look at some of the reviews on
Mhm.
Letterboxd, and a lot of people say like Jonah Hill like should have won an Oscar for this movie.
I don't know about that. It wasn't like the greatest cinematic performance ever, but it is one of his top performances. And it
Yeah,
makes you realize why he is special, right?
yeah, like that scene, and people loved the scene where, um, what was that guy's name? Jay was saying, Jesus Christ compels you.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh really? Does it compel me? Really? And people love that scene. And that was actually a funny scene.
It was really good. It was really good. Yeah. So yeah, they're like huddled up in the house. There's, the guys, one of the things that's great about this film is because the film is all men, right? And these guys are comedians. They're able to like, talk about like the latent, like, homoeroticism or like the homo weirdness between guys when it's just bros being bros, you know what I mean? Cause there's
Yeah.
like this scene when the guys are like laying down, they're all in their separate rooms, but then they all come to like Jay's room because like we're scared to sleep alone. So they like cuddle up and there's like this scene when, you know, uh, what's his name? Jonah Hill gets in the middle of Seth Rogen and Jay, and he's like, "All right, what are we doing? Ass to ass, dick to dick? Like, how we laying?" There's a lot of just like gay humor in this thing, a lot of dick jokes, a lot of cum jokes. I don't know. I feel like has the humor become dated in the film when it comes to like the sex humor here? Because there's a lot of that here.
I mean, it's not like good quality humor, but I think it still makes you laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, I was laughing at that part, and I laughed at like other sexual jokes in this movie as well.
Hmm.
So I think like if done well, I think it can make you laugh, and it doesn't have to be that smart.
Hmm.
And it just, like you said, it sort of points out like that obvious awkwardness
Yeah.
in real life. And yeah, like
Because
imagine, I don't
because
know,
if this movie,
imagine if you and your homies got stuck in the apocalypse in a house like that.
yeah.
And then like, yeah, like somebody's thinking about fucking someone.
Well, not fucking someone, but it's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna be scared. Like, I'm not gonna cuddle up with a dude, but it's like, it's the apocalypse. I'm gonna be with somebody else in the room. Like, I'm not sleeping by myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah, like,
it's different. It's different if it's women, right? Like women, y'all would huddle all together if it was you and your girlfriends during the apocalypse. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. There wouldn't be that sexual tension.
Right, right. But there isn't a joke in this film that I feel like wouldn't fly today. Like the humor here isn't like cancelable. Like, do you remember any jokes here that you felt like, oh no, they couldn't do that in 2024? You know what I mean?
Not really,
Yeah.
because for the most part, the jokes are like brutally honest,
Mm-hmm.
and also like I don't know, it comes from like a stupid place, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And the film doesn't take itself seriously,
Yeah.
so
It
we just like laugh with it.
it doesn't take itself seriously, and it doesn't make jokes at other people's expense. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it makes jokes of celebrities and
Yeah.
like how sort of childish they are because they're stuck in this house and they're still thinking we're celebrities. Like people are
So,
gonna find us
yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, who said that? I think it was like Jonah Hill. He's like, what do people do? They save important people first. Beyonce, Madonna, Jonah Hill. I might save you guys too if they come for me.
Yeah, it's like, these people taking themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
And I guess there's like only one person who's not like that, which is sort of like Jay,
Yeah.
right?
I'm just saying, like, for a movie about, heaven and hell and God and the devil, it could have been hella easy in this film for somebody to make a joke like, oh, we know why Jonah didn't go to heaven. He sucked too many dicks. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
they could have easily made like a lot of homoerotic jokes or jokes about certain people's lifestyle to say why they couldn't be with God. You know what I mean? But they didn't do that, which is a thing to applaud. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. They didn't, I think like, okay, like the ending scenes, in terms of like scenery wise, maybe it was a bit like I don't know what is happening at this point in the movie, but there weren't that many cliches.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't cliche. Like I felt like the movie kept you entertained, surprised. It was a bit goofy and silly, but it didn't become slapstick. It was like cute. It was like, the funniest bros in the world making the coolest movie. When it comes to the end though, I liked the scenery when they go outside and the world became Mad Max.
Yeah,
And we're gonna talk about that. But
yeah.
Danny McBride makes his big entrance. So the guys are like sleeping in their first night after the apocalypse began, and Danny McBride snuck into the house party. James Franco didn't even know he was there. So he has this big entrance where he's like walking into the kitchen. He pours like the water that he found over himself, like splashing it around. He cooks all the eggs, all the bacon, all the cinnamon toast crunch for breakfast. The guys wake up and they're like, what the fuck, Danny? No, don't stop eating. And he's like, what the fuck, man? I made all this for you. And, yeah, James Franco really hates Danny McBride, but Danny McBride kind of like tolerates James Franco, or he wants to be his friend. And there's also a scene when like this bald guy sticks his head through the door and then it gets like chopped off and the guys are like kicking it back and forth like a soccer ball. But yeah, I like Danny McBride in this film too. I feel like he might have stole the show more than Jonah Hill. You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
they were equally the most funny people in this film.
Okay, well, don't crucify me for this,
Tell me.
but I don't really know Danny McBride.
Okay.
Like, I've never seen any of his movies,
Okay.
and his
Okay.
face is not familiar for me. But I thought still, despite that, in the movie, he did good. Like, he was
hmm
great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he was sort of like that, I don't give a fuck about anything guy in
Yeah.
the movie. Like, he didn't really care about any of the moralities.
hmm
And definitely, I thought his entrance was, like, hilarious.
Yeah.
And, like, when he said, like, oh my God, you guys got so fucked up last night. I'm sure
hmm
James Franco, like, sucked somebody's dick or something.
Yeah, because he
And,
was like looking at their faces and they had like white stuff on it and stuff.
yeah, but it was definitely hilarious. Like, his entrance was iconic.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder why Jay Baruchel, Jay is the only guy in this film who's like reading the Bible. I felt like Craig Robinson, you know what I mean? Big black man from the South. I feel like he would have been up on that Bible. You know what I mean?
I mean, they sort of bonded over that
hmm
in the movie with Jay. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but, I mean, he just didn't read it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking about the scene when they were all sitting around the kitchen table and Jay breaks up the Bible and starts talking to people about it. And, Seth Rogen is like, there's all these sinkholes, all over, popping up over the world in South America. Yeah, that's why they call it Sinkhole de Mayo. I don't know. I like that little dad joke. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was funny. And it's also like, there are like little bits where you hear and then you don't like laugh out loud, but it's like funny.
Yeah.
And it sort of makes you think because there's like this whole apocalypse going on, right? And they're like short on food and water. And, Jay brings out the Bible trying to make sense of everything. And James Franco is like, did you took my Bible? And it's like, you see like how sort of dumb it is.
Yeah, really. Also in this film, there's sort of like, ev- like only a few people really like each other, and then some people have favorites. Other people got real serious beef, and like James Franco treats Seth Rogen different than he does everybody else. Like he gives him extra food that he's hiding in his house. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? What did you think about that part of the film? Like how some people were like, kind of acting like friends, and the other people really weren't.
I mean, I guess that's just like celebrity dynamics.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's sort of like, I don't know, I guess you have to be somewhat professional all the time because like, also if you have beef with someone, I feel like it might just get out and there might be a gossip about it and it's not really worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If some people have like that sort of celebrity complex, if I was a celebrity, I would probably just let it go and wouldn't like try to be around that person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's just like how stuff is, like how relationships are in the world when people are forced to be together.
I think all of them actually really like each other in real life, of course. But I think, like you were saying, it's like those fake Hollywood friendships, right? And they were trying to talk about that in the film. These people that you think are always in the films together, always joking and laughing, maybe they really don't like each other behind closed doors, because they're only
Yeah.
human. You don't get along with everybody, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've heard that like a bunch of times where, two actors play love interests in a movie, but then like in real life they hate each other.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the film, basically there's this funny scene when they do all the drugs in the house. So they like drop all the acids, smoke all the weed, do a bunch of Molly, and they make Pineapple Express too, which I thought was funny just for the Woody Harrelson slander.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I love Woody Harrelson, but they were filming like Pineapple Express where like these two guys, they're trying to like sell weed, and if they sell weed, they're gonna put Woody Harrelson out of business. And they have Jonah Hill wearing like this cowboy hat doing this folksy accent. I just love it. That's so great.
Yeah, and it was sort of like guys being guys,
Yeah.
They have like this limited amount of time. The world is being destroyed basically. And they have all these drugs in the house and they just like do all of them. And, then just like
Make a
play
movie.
silly games basically.
Yeah, they make a movie and then they all watch it together, which is kind of crazy. We're watching our favorite movie stars make a movie on screen, and then they watch the movie and we're sitting there watching it.
Yeah. And then someone makes a joke of like, we should do 128th hour. Like
Is that a James Franco
Franco
film? I haven't seen that one. Have you seen it?
No. I did hear that it was good though.
Okay. But yeah, so they're all, after doing all the drugs, they're watching the film, and guess who hops back in? Emma Watson. Emma Watson survived the apocalypse, right? And she burst in with an axe. And so she's telling them like, yeah, I was hiding out in like a sewer for like 3 days until I didn't hear people. I just heard growls. And so they like let her back in, and the guys are like, yeah, Emma, go upstairs. We're going to take care of you, right? And so they're all standing outside the room where like Emma is like, recovering and, probably taking a shower or whatever. And Jay is saying like, hey guys, I think we should talk about the elephant in the room. Well, Emma is like the only girl here in a room full of guys, and the guys are like, yeah, she's like a sister. Yeah, love her like family. And Jay's like, well, we should probably do something to make sure she feels comfortable. And the guys are like, yeah, we're going to always make her feel comfortable. But no, really, we need to really do something to make her feel comfortable. And then Danny McBride says, he thinks we're going to rape her. And everybody's like, whoa. Nobody's gonna rape Emma Watson. Why do you want to rape Emma Watson? They all go back and forth, and they keep on saying rape. And, and so Emma Watson hears rape just constantly outside from these guys saying, if anybody's going to rape Emma Watson, it's going to be you. And so she bursts outside with the axe and starts swinging at the guys. And she proves she's not fucking around because she like smashes this like dick statue that James Franco has. And so she steals all their water, all their food, and then like leaves the house. That was hella badass. What did you think of that scene?
Yeah. First of all, I was thinking, why isn't Emma Watson in heaven? Get this girl to heaven.
Maybe it's
But
because she did some witchcraft in Harry Potter. You know, God don't like
wow.
that.
Wow. Okay. And yeah, that whole like rape conversation was just hilarious because like it kind of showed how guys get very uncomfortable about rape. And like sort of, I don't know, like that sort of, bad sexuality, I guess. And yeah, that was just hilarious. And also, yeah, after that, when they were like doing the camera, like camera diaries, and Danny McBride said Hermione just stole our shit. And I thought that was hilarious as well. Though I did feel like a bit sad in this part of the movie because I was thinking like, damn, like what does a girl have to do to feel safe? It's safer with demons than with guys.
Technically, it was safer with them, but actually, it might be safer alone because these guys are fucking idiots. So,
Yeah.
but technically, they didn't want to rape her, right? But I thought that was a brilliant rape joke. It's very hard to make a rape joke funny and smart and not cancelable and gross. I thought that was a brilliant rape joke. Don't you think? Or no?
Yeah. No, I don't think it was like cancel worthy.
Yeah.
I thought it was like smartly done because they weren't actually trying to rape her.
Right.
And that's what it sort of like saved it.
But yeah, so Emma Watson like steals all their stuff, and James Franco's like, I got water in my basement, so we're gonna like draw matches to see who goes. Craig Robinson, unfortunately, is the one who draws the match, and so they tie a string around his big fat ass. He's running around the house trying to get the water, but a demon is like chasing him down, and so like he can't open the basement, so he almost gets killed by a demon, like trying to suck him back into the netherworld when he makes it back into the house, but he cuts the rope right on time. That was pretty intense. After that, the guys are like, oh man, we're gonna die here. And then James Franco's it's so crazy. The water is like right under me, like literally right under me. And they're like, you fucking idiot. We didn't have to go outside. We just need to make a hole.
Which is also stupid too, but I guess it makes sense at that moment.
It was really stupid.
Yeah. And but that scene was, once again, that was fun. That was a funny scene. And, first I thought, oh, okay, like Craig Daniels is gonna die. Wait, not Craig Daniels.
Craig Robinson.
Yeah, Craig Robinson. He's gonna die, and is that gonna be the cliche of like that one black character dying first?
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it was gonna be hella cliche.
But it didn't happen, and I was like happy that he survived because I liked his character.
Me too,
actually. And yeah, and that whole like sort of panic scene where he got inside and the demon was pulling him. And yeah, I think Jay said like, Jonah, throw me a knife. And Jonah Hill threw a knife like at Jay, literally throwing it, and then he stabbed Jay accidentally. Yeah. In the thigh. That like the whole like whenever there's a crisis, they just like do the most stupidest shit. It makes it funny.
Yeah. By the way, they like never did anything with Jay's leg after that. I didn't know people could get stabbed in the leg and just continue on about their day.
I don't think they can, but that's just the movie.
But yeah, so they finally they're able to make a hole down there, but before they make the hole, there's like this big beef between James Franco and Danny McBride, because Danny McBride was like jerking off on James Franco's like porno magazines, and they have this it's actually a pretty funny scene, but it's really juvenile to talk about. Basically, Danny McBride is like, I'm gonna come anywhere I want. I'm gonna come on all your magazines. I'm gonna come all over the house. And it's so like 17-year-old, like, bro humor, but they still deliver it so well that I still like it. I don't know why. I don't want to make it seem like I'm juvenile or I'm, retarded in my in my comedic taste. But come on, that was funny. That was funny. James Franco said, "You keep jerking off in my house, I'm gonna shoot your fucking dick off." And Danny McBride said, "You ain't got enough bullets, bitch." I said, "Bitch," I said, "What?" I'm done.
My favorite line from that fight was like, "You have iPads in your fucking walls and you're jerking like a goddamn pilgrim." Cause like, why the fuck would he jerk off to a magazine? That makes no sense.
And James Franco said, "I like to read."
Yeah. No, it was a hilarious fight. And once
Yeah,
again, it was hilarious because it was like stupid.
yeah, really
Cause
fucking
yeah, and
stupid.
then if you think about it, like as a woman, especially watching it, you think like, oh, men are so stupid, but they're funny.
Yeah, yeah. Like this is actually like the best and worst group to be caught with during the apocalypse because at least while you're dying, you'll be laughing.
Yeah.
It's definitely like at least a good way to go. But you're gonna die of thirst and starvation.
Or a demon is gonna fuck you.
Definitely. So yeah, basically they find the water and the guys are like toasting the water like champagne at the dinner table. But Danny McBride tries to like drink more water and the guys all get pissed at him. So to get back at them, he like takes the whole jug of water and like basically pours it all over his body. And the guys get so pissed. James Franco threatens to kill him. He puts a gun to his head and he puts the gun in his mouth and says, "Do it, bitch. I thought so. You ain't gonna do nothing." So the guys agree to like kick out, Danny McBride. He dresses up in a tuxedo and, they, watch him go. James Franco gives him the gun to help him protect himself. And Danny McBride tries to shoot everybody. He tries to shoot everybody. He shot everybody in square blank in the chest and they don't die because there's blanks in the bullet. And so then he's officially like kicked out of the house. Like there's no love lost now at all. Any comments on those scenes?
Yeah. I mean, throughout the movie, but especially in this part, Danny McBride is like an older Michael Cera.
Wow, that's pretty
And,
funny.
yeah. And, yeah, he's just like the asshole who just doesn't give a fuck about the apocalypse. And he's like, I want to do whatever I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I was annoyed by his character, obviously, because, yeah, that was just stupid
Mm-hmm.
that he did that. But, yeah, you kind of like his character too, because he's like, he sort of says something kind of philosophical,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, I forgot exactly what he said, but he says something like, well, now that like the society's crumbled down, why do we need to have the rules?
Mm.
Like, why do we need to do, split it equally, all this sort of pretentious stuff that the society makes us do.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's still some of that, rules of respectable politics of society, right?
Yeah.
Even while the apocalypse is happening. And so they finally like, Danny McBride's like, no, I'm going to live like an anarchist. I'm going to live how I want.
Yeah.
But you
And
can't.
he like, sorry, yeah, he starts like just reading everyone.
Yeah.
Library has opened.
Yeah.
And he says like, Jay actually doesn't like you, Seth.
Mm-hmm.
Because last time he came to LA, he stayed at a hotel and not with you.
Yeah. And after that, when Danny leaves, Jonah says something like very passive aggressive, like, "I'm really disappointed in you, Jay. How could you do something like that?" Bam, gets socked in his mouth by Jay. And yeah, he then goes to bed and he prays to God for Jay to kill him. And then late at night, a demon creeps into Jonah Hill's bed with a 24-inch demon cock and like rapes him, like point blank, chest to chest. Oh, that was intense. Any comments on that?
Yeah, that like dick shadow of the demon, that was like scary. Cause like who would want that? I'm a woman and I don't want that. But I loved Jonah Hill's character before, but I think I liked him more as the possessed
Really?
demon. Yes.
Yeah. He did really well with the possessed scene. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that scene was terrifying as well, but it did hold up well. I remember that scene, But I was like, is that shit really funny? And when I saw it again last night, I was like, yep, that's still funny. But it's even funnier right after because they're doing like those recorded confessional videos where they're like documenting their life. And Jonah Hill is like, so something bad happened last night. And then there's just Craig Robinson and Seth Rogen talking about drinking their own pee. Like Craig Robinson is like, hey, last night drank my pee and I gotta say, that shit pretty good, man. And then like Seth Rogen is just like naked and he like just straight up aims his cock in his face and like just pisses straight down his mouth. Like that shit was pretty gross, but it was still kind of funny. Like
It was so gross. I didn't even know dicks could do that.
no, you definitely could piss in your own mouth. I definitely could. Like that's not hard.
Ew. That's sort of gross. But I thought, like, yeah, that was funny. But also, like, when Jonah Hill was with the other guys, he was, like, having hallucinations or something. You know? He was, like, going back to the trauma where he got raped by the demon.
Yeah.
And that was hilarious, too.
Yeah. So, there was this time when they had to draw straws again to see who's going to go out to get water. And Seth Rogen says, nope, I'm not going to do it because he got the straw. And, Jay says, you know what? I'm going to do it because I got principles. I got morals. And so then Craig, Robinson says, yeah, I'll go with you too. So they end up like sneaking across the yard to go to like some other mansion that's like abandoned. And meanwhile, James Franco and Seth Rogen are at the house back there. And there's like this thing that happens with Jonah Hill. Like he starts, convulsing and stuff like that. They think he's having like a diabetic episode. And meanwhile, Craig Davidson and Jay are at this house and they find a bunch of food, like a ton of food and stuff like that. So yeah, James Franco and Seth Rogen are trying to like resuscitate Jonah Hill, but they end up like eating half of the Milky Way that they're going to use to bring him back to life. But then they realize, oh shit, Jonah Hill is possessed by a demon because he starts speaking in like Latin. And, he like turns up on them. And, at the house, right, when Craig Robinson and Jay are there, Jay is telling Craig, hey, we don't have to go back together. Will you marry me? Jay like proposes essentially to Craig, like, we can build a life together here, man. And Craig is like, I got my friends, bruh. I can't leave my friends behind. And one of the biggest jump scares happened. A fucking demon jumped through a window and I literally said, ah! We were watching the film. But, any comments on those scenes?
Yeah, that was definitely a jump scare because, like, when that happened and then you screamed, I was so scared I couldn't move. I was, like, in shock. But, yeah, this part of the movie was okay. Like, it was sort of like the action part, I guess. Mm-hmm. And where, like, we were, like, thinking if someone is gonna die. But I do have to say, like, Craig Robinson is a dog. Cause like he went after his friends. Yeah. And then he also didn't leave the other ones to starve, basically. Yeah. So I was thinking at this point, like, this man deserves to go to heaven. Mm-hmm. Like, Yeah. But yeah, I liked his character. He was like the nicest character in the movie.
Now, I have a theory about this film. My theory is that the demons appeared when the people decided they were going to be selfish. And I think this film is talking about selfishness the most because when Seth Rogen said, I'm not going to go, he was being selfish about his own life, even though the rules said he drew the straw, you got to go, right? And when Jay said, hey, let's stay here and leave those guys, that's selfishness too, abandoning his friends, right? So then that's when the demon jumped through the house. What do you think about that theory?
I mean, selfishness is, I guess, a part of being a bad person. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of somewhat like something you would expect celebrities to be, mm-hmm. maybe, because, they take all the money and they just add wealth to their wealth with every single project or everything that happens with them. And, they just, like, basically keep all the resources to themselves. Yeah. That they make, like, the monies off of fans. That makes them, like, somewhat selfish. Mm-hmm. Because there are, like, all of their fans, I guess, are like struggling with something
Yeah.
and maybe even financially. So yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was just my theory about the film. Like, the guys, whenever they did something really bad, then that's when the demons came out to get them and stuff like that.
I mean, I think it was more general, like just generally being a bad person, but that they sort of used that to become good.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, at no other points in the film did the demons come and get them until they really started being bad to their friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was just thinking, okay, like it's their time now. Like demons found them and they cannot escape anymore.
Yeah, yeah. There's only so long you can hide out from the apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, anyway, Jay and Craig, they escape from the house where the demon is chasing them. They make it back to the house where Seth and James Franco are like trying to hide and run from the evil possessed, Jonah Hill. Jay comes back with the baseball bat and fucking like clocks the shit out of Jonah Hill demon. Then they tie him up to the bed and then, they do an exorcism on him. Like Jay starts reading from the Bible and says like the power of Christ compels you. And, the demon Jonah Hill is like being all sassy, like, oh really? It compels me? Oh, I'm so scared. You know what I mean? That was pretty funny. Any comments on those scenes?
Yeah. I just thought the part where like James Franco says like, really? Like you're quoting The Exorcist? And Jay says like, I'm guessing they made their research,
Yeah, it's
which
an
kind of makes
instruction
sense.
manual. Yeah, he said like it's an instruction manual as much as a film.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense. Like I never thought about that, but it
hmm
still makes it like, it's still hilarious to be quoting a movie and
hmm
constantly saying like, Jesus Christ compels you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I agree, like Jonah Hill in this scene was killing it still.
Absolutely killing it. Like that would actually be a great film. Like the exorcism of Jonah Hill. You know, like he gets the
Yeah.
Ozempic like sucked out of his body because it's
Wow.
possessed.
Wow. And it was kind of like starting to, I feel like he was starting to get the demon out of him, but then they
Mhm.
stopped him. They
Yeah.
stopped Jay.
Well, no, that's because I think Jonah Hill started like shaking the room with his demon powers, and then like a candle got on him, and so then he got on fire, right? And then that's when they had to run out of the house.
Yeah, and they also saw that James Franco was like keeping food away from them.
hmm
They like bumped into this closet with a bunch of food
Yeah.
inside.
hmm hmm Yeah, so basically, Jonah Hill gets set on fire. He's running all over the house, chasing the guys. The guys run outside, and then the house finally collapses in flames. They don't know what to do. And when they look at the garage, there's like a flying demon on top of the garage, right where James Franco's like Toyota Prius is. And so Craig Robinson says, you know what? I'll distract the demon while you guys get in the car. He says, I love you guys. And he says, see you on the other side. He goes in front of the demon and says, hey, motherfucker, come and get me. Nobody's scared of you, something like that. And so the demon jumps down and is about to eat Craig Robinson while the other guys are in the car. And then right when the demon is about to like eat him because Craig Robinson's like running at him, God opens up the gates of heaven and like starts sucking up Craig Robinson into the sky in front of everybody. What did you think of that scene?
Yeah. Once again, he's a dog because like, yeah, he stood up for his friends. And then that was also funny. Like he said, get this big dick or something. And then he started like running towards him saying, take your panties off.
Take your panties off.
Like that's such a, I don't know, that's such a celebrity way to go because
That's a hard way to go.
normal people take this shit seriously.
Like imagine like you're gonna die. So you're like, I'm gonna just go out like a gangster and I'm gonna just tell that fucking like demon like, I'm gonna fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know. That's only like something that, I don't know, someone has to see themselves like really high up
hmm
to be doing shit that they are doing in this movie.
Yeah, or just really high.
Yeah, or that.
So yeah, the guys escape, and so like they're all shocked that Craig got sucked up into heaven there. And Jay is saying like, there's still hope for us. We just got to be good to each other, and then maybe we can go too. So then they all just literally just start complimenting each other, like, oh man, James Franco, you're my best friend, and you're so good and great. And they're like keep on complimenting each other until they get rammed by a car. And so there's like this big Mad Max minivan that sort of like flips their shit over. They get dragged out of the car, and guess who comes out of the Mad Max minivan? It's Danny McBride, with all of his goons, and he has like a gimp on a leash who's on all fours. And he's like, hey man, I survived the apocalypse and I'm now a cannibal and we're going to eat you because we haven't eaten in days. I'm the boss around here. You see this little bitch here? I slide right in his booty hole. He'll do whatever I want. And he takes off the mask and it's like Channing Tatum. He's like, yeah, I found this little bitch like walking on the side of the highway, scared and homeless. You know what I mean? It was really funny. So they're about to eat, they're about to eat James Franco and Seth Rogen and Jay, but they escape, and James Franco tries to like say, he's gonna sacrifice himself to defend his friends, and then God tries to suck him into heaven, but then he tells Danny McBride, fuck you, motherfucker, suck my dick, and God lets him back down, and then the cannibals like straight up eat him. That was pretty funny. Any comments on those scenes?
Yeah, I was not expecting that comeback from Danny McBride, and it was just like hilarious, but at the same time so like just insane
Mm-hmm.
that there would be like this cannibal group in the middle of an apocalypse.
I think that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Like you would start eating people in the end of days.
I mean, I guess there's still food in the world, but they're just like demons running around trying to fuck you. So how are you like just out there without the demons like fucking you?
No, I think there's like no food. Like literally when they do like an aerial shot of LA, like it's nothing but hellfire.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. They literally went the house next door and there was food there.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that was a epic like re-entrance, I guess. And Channing Tatum, it was sort of gross seeing him like that.
Yeah.
And
On
like the
all
way
fours.
Danny McBride was talking about him saying like, oh, I butt fucked him
Yeah.
or things like that. That was just like kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am definitely sure Channing Tatum used a body doubler.
Nah. That was him busting open that pussy for Danny McBride. I wholeheartely believe that.
You think so?
I
I
believe
don't
it.
think he would do that,
I
but
believe
okay.
it. It's Hollywood. He went to a Diddy party. This is something unknown.
Wow. But anyway, yeah, James Franco, like, just sort of dying because he's petty. I kind of saw that coming. I
Really?
didn't believe that he was going to go to heaven.
Yeah, somebody had to go to hell, and maybe it was James Franco because he sucked a lot of dicks. I don't know.
Wow.
Oh man, but no, it's yeah, I didn't expect that either. But that goes to show a moral lesson. Like you can't have hubris, you can't have pride. You know what I mean? You have to take your victories in stride.
Yeah, and you can't trick God.
You can't trick God. He knows your heart too. So, yeah, basically, Jay and Seth Rogen are escaping and they're like hiding from the cannibals and they're like running away, but then they're faced with like the largest demon that we've ever seen up to this point in the film. It's like this. It looks literally like Satan with like a huge fucking dick just dangling under him. And like he leans down when he sees, Jay and Seth Rogen and he looks like he's about to eat them and like tentacles are popping out of his back. Jay is confessing all of his faults and sins to Seth Rogen and Seth Rogen is saying, I'm sorry too, man. I love you, bro. And, I wish I could do everything differently. And then, Jay is about to get sucked into heaven, right? And so he tells Seth Rogen, like, hold on to my hand, I can take you with me. But then when they're going up, God is like, nope, you can't both come. So, Seth Rogen says, I have to let go so you can go to heaven. So Seth Rogen lets go. He's about to fall into the demon's mouth. But just when he's about to get eaten, God opens up the light and he cuts the demon in half and sucks up Seth Rogen into heaven. Any comments on those scenes?
Yes. So when I saw that the huge demon monster had a dick, I was thinking, okay, like, why doesn't this happen in every movie? Not that I particularly want to see that, but it's like, you know, in every big monster movie, monsters don't have dicks. And I feel like that's just not realistic. Or they don't have vaginas, like, whatever it is. But yeah, I thought that was like a cool, kind of like a smart touch.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you noticed this, but when they both got sucked into heaven, that Ray slit the dick.
Yeah.
And that's just like something unnecessary that you
Yeah.
might want to know about the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I was happy that they both went to heaven, honestly.
Yeah, like once again, it's like not common to see like movies that talk about heaven and hell in American cinema. We used to have more of those movies, but you know, people get really touchy and iffy about these topics. You know, people might protest these films and stuff like that. So I really liked how in the end, like the movie does give like this moral message. Like even if you don't believe in God, I think you can still take something from this film. Like be good to your friends, have some unselfishness, you know, selflessness, if that makes sense. And, you know, try to just be a decent person. And, you know, that will help you in the long run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that part. And, at the very end, you know, Jay and Seth meet up with Craig and, who else was in there? I forgot. Maybe Rihanna and, all the other people that were at the party. They're up there in heaven too, maybe? No?
No, I don't think they were. Backstreet Boys was there.
Yeah. So
But yeah.
basically, like Craig Robinson tells Seth Rogen and Jay, like, "This is heaven, baby. You can have whatever you want." Because they make it up there, and people are like wearing togas, and it's like an all-white party, and they're just dancing and having fun. So Jay says, "I can have whatever I want," and Craig says, "Yeah, you can have whatever you want." And so then Jay puts his finger in the air, and he wishes for the Backstreet Boys to come and perform. Backstreet's back, all right, and they like do that, and actually, that made me feel like very old because like I could enjoy it. And I know you enjoy it too because like, come on, that's a classic song. But it's like, this is so like millennial. This is so Gen X
Yeah.
millennial. This is one of those crossover movies for those generations. And it's like both of us meeting at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely felt the millennial cringe of it, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, of course I like the song. If I hear it, I'm gonna sing it. But it's like, you know, Backstreet Boys coming and performing in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit cringe.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that, you know, people were redeemable and that just because like you're in heaven or you can go to heaven doesn't mean you have to be like this, you know, boring person,
Yeah.
basically. Like you can smoke weed in heaven or I don't know, like you can do bad shit in your life or you could be a fun person and still be a good person, you
Yeah.
know? So I like that sort of messaging, I guess, if you like really dig into it. But overall, I think it's a bit like of a, you know, comedic critique of Hollywood and the apocalypse.
More of Hollywood, I would say.
Yeah.
And basically just giving people hope that, you know, be a good person in this world and maybe you can go to the Six Flags in heaven that looks like Dubai and a Diddy White party.
I know, but just like the baby oil is missing and no one's getting raped.
Yeah, well, you could have baby oil, but there's no rape in heaven, but you can have
Yeah.
whatever you want.
But do you know why like this movie was so smoothly done?
Why?
Because it was during Obama's time.
What do you mean? Like there was just no trauma around it? Like there's no, you know, drama outside?
Yeah, I think so. I think also like the country wasn't this divided in terms of like just religious nuts and
Yeah.
liberals.
Yeah, I mean, we've always had religious nuts in America, but yeah, it feels like a different time. This is like, you know, 3 years before Trump came and the whole world kind of just went really divisive and divisive. You know what I mean? Like this just reminds me of like a happier era. I don't want to be that nostalgic guy, like, oh, things are so much better in the past. But this is one of those movies that in a time capsule is very nostalgic, giving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people were just like more chill.
Yeah. It was more chill. And I don't feel like we have this level of like comedians right now. Like, I don't feel like great comedy films are being made, or we have like a big, clique of like comedy guys like these people. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like this has been resurrected. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the Will Ferrells, the Seth Rogens, Jonah Hills, Danny McBrides, Craig Robinsons, like, they had their run, and it doesn't seem like there's a new crop of people.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you think about it, I think before this type of movie or these groups of people, there was sort of like, we had like Eddie Murphy,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and it was like more family friendly comedy.
Eddie
But
Murphy is definitely not family friendly, but he was making some family friendly ish movies like Nutty Professor and stuff like that. I guess.
yeah, but I don't know. It's just, it wasn't like stupid comedy.
This is like a bit edgy comedy, right? This is like, weed smoking, pissing in the mouth, cum jokes. Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy wasn't doing stuff like that. Martin Lawrence wasn't doing stuff like that, to be fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like their comedy was based on like more social stuff.
Hmm.
And I guess this is too, but it's just like Hollywood. But yeah, like more social and political, but then make that funny,
Hmm.
basically. And I feel like this type of comedy with like Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill, it's more like very, I'm high or I'm on, I don't know, drugs kind of comedy.
Yeah.
Same with Hangover.
Hmm.
And maybe we will step into a different type of comedy, but I haven't seen that yet.
I mean, we just got to see what Gen Z is doing. What do y'all find funny?
Yeah,
That's the
we
thing.
watched Bottoms, so
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the issue. But like millennial and Gen X comedy was just a lot of jokes about weed and dick and cum and pussy and you know weird situational shit. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I
And
guess we have to find a way to make fun of ourselves.
mhm. A little bit, but y'all also need some funny people. Like y'all got some funny people. I'm not gonna be that guy like some of these TikTok comedians or Instagram comedians who got viral clips aren't funny, right? But they just got to get in the movies.
Yeah. I mean, they're too busy with like YouTube and TikTok and people are already making a lot of money from there.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
feel like they don't really invest in something like a good comedy movie.
Right, right. And I think a lot of comedians nowadays, because all the people in This Is the End were like real stand-up comedians or did comedic writing, for
Hmm.
some time before they jumped on screen. Like the people nowadays, like they're doing skits on Instagram or YouTube or like, basically doing stand-up comedy in a few clubs. They get a few viral clips and now they're, touring and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's not the same sort of rigor and the path that goes on. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other because who knows like what the comedians that are coming up now might do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like, of course, it's still not easy, but when people get that fame now, they just make a Netflix special
Hmm.
and then that's it. And they don't really like end up making something really, memorable or substantial like these guys did or the guys before them did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But,
maybe that person will come. Who
yeah,
knows?
maybe. But, overall, I like this film. I give it a solid 7. Give it a solid 7. In my memory, it was a 9. But going back and looking at it, there is some like outdated humor, some cringe parts at least. It is of its time. It feels weirdly placed in time, but it's a fun watch. But maybe just once. Like after I've seen it now, I don't need to watch it again. So I might recommend it to somebody else. So if you're looking for like a good like stoner bullshit bro comedy, this is one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like even you don't even have to want that. if it's like, I don't know, end of the week and you want to watch something silly and funny, like you can play this. But like you said, like, I don't know, you can watch this movie like every 15 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it will still hold up 15 years later, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But so far, it wasn't bad. I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Okay.
It was entertaining when I watched it, but it wasn't like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, shout out to High Seaman in the comments section. Shout out to you. No problems on missing the May December review. You can go listen to that on this channel as well. And stay tuned for more movie reviews with Simon and Akdi. This has been episode 83, and peace.